There was a droid in Star Wars Legends which truly ruined it for all other droids. If I were a droid with advanced enough programming to think about such a thing, I would have hated this one droid. But let's set the scene. Despite Star Wars droids being generally really lovable and fan-favorite characters, in universe, droids are often treated very poorly. It doesn't seem like there are any laws which prohibit destroying a droid, causing it distress, or give a droid any sort of rights, with them largely being regarded as pieces of technology. Hardware, things that are owned by individuals. This is despite the fact that droids clearly have some measure of sentience. Droids express hope. They're fearful, often fearful in the case of some like C-3PO. They care for their owners, and they definitely at least can develop a sense of self and self-interest. So it is arguably a bit surprising that droids are treated at such a lower level than other life forms. I mean, we would expect that in, say, the Galactic Empire, but what about the Republic? Well, the truth is, in the modern Star Wars galaxy, even before the Clone Wars, droids, even the most advanced thinking models, never received even a modicum of legal protection. The reasons for this are less philosophical per se and more related to the history of relationships between droids and other sentient beings. This is touched on by both the Essential Guide to Warfare and more direct sources, including Star Wars The Old Republic holocrons. To start things off, the Essential Guide to Warfare gives a good look at how droid rights were actually coming to the forefront before a major catastrophe. Specifically, and I'll quote, "For millennia, the trend in the galaxy was an increasing acceptance of droid rights, but that movement was interrupted by a series of shocks to civilization beginning in 4015 BBY. That year saw what was known as the Great Droid Rebellion. Basically, droids of all types, from the very small to the very large and important, turned on their organics. This is how the event is described in the 43rd Datacron for the Old Republic. The question of whether droids deserved rights was rendered moot when a Zerka-built assassin droid, HK-01, went rogue and began reprogramming other droids to rise up against their masters in what would be called the Great Droid Revolution. Republic citizens, surrounded by thousands of rogue droids, every model, from protocol to sanitation to battle units, found themselves at the mercy of their former servants. Planets were subjugated in the names of the rebellion until the signal controlling the droids was traced and destroyed. What's interesting to me is that this was seen as a stopping point for discussions around droid rights, despite the fact that this wasn't a large systemic thing. This was the action of one rogue assassin droid, HK-01. As the Datacron explains, once the signal was stopped, the droids returned to normal. Still, this was a pretty terrible and horrifying 3-month affair, and only one situation where droids would negatively be brought before the galaxy's population. We know, for example, that there were other revolutions or rebellions which had to be put down violently through force. Droids were often seen, as the new Essential Guide to Droids explains, as taking away jobs and positions for organics, which led to anti-droid resentments. And I think most prominently, droids were often used as tools of war and were prominent objects of terror. The Republic, for example, used war droids, and droids would be on one side or another of conflicts all the way up until, of course, the Clone Wars and beyond. These also weren't just galaxy-shaking wars. Small conflicts like the Arcanian Revolution brought war droids to the forefront, and even private security firms, powerful individuals, gangsters, criminals, and others would use droids to harm living beings. So it seems like droid sympathies really reached a high point about 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. Then, largely because of the actions of a single droid, HK-01, they never really recovered. Movement towards respecting droid sentience was continually brought down by the public-facing nature of war droids, specific acts of terror, and just general anti-droid resentment. I will note, this does feel like an area of Star Wars that has been underexplored, and I do think even within the galaxy, if they wanted to make serious improvements when it came to the betterment of droid existence, they could definitely do so. First of all, the new Essential Guide to Droids makes an interesting distinction between a droid and a robot, arguing that the two are not in fact interchangeable words, and that a droid is actually defined or distinguished by a degree of self-awareness. Many of the things done by droids in Star Wars could be done by more basic machines without the sort of difficult ethical and moral issues. There's also the fact that in universe, we wouldn't necessarily expect this. For one, the truly revolutionary droids aren't very common. Droids certainly didn't ask to be put in the position that they're in. They didn't ask to take people's jobs or kill people or whatever else. And again, looking at the new Essential Guide to Droids, there's this quote that I quite like. Every standard day, millions of subservient automata negotiate treaties, repair hyperdrives, cure plagues, incinerate garbage, nurse children, haul cargo, deliver messages, cook meals, and destroy enemies. At the same time, droids are ignored and unappreciated, treated as chattel by many owners, and regarded with outright hostility by others. Though anti-droid prejudice is a reality among the unenlightened, owners who have spent long stretches with their droids have discovered that they can be both trusted companions and loyal friends. That's definitely true when we read Star Wars Legends. There are cases where Luke Skywalker or another individual could have left R2 or another droid and made their mission a bit easier, but they always choose to go back and they always choose to save their droids. Yet we don't see any outright movement towards sentient droid rights. I don't know, it's just an interesting situation, and there are definitely more avenues I could go down if we want to continue discussing this topic. Everything from how the Sith thought differently about droids when compared to the Jedi, to the use of cybernetics, and even consciousness transfers into droids. But maybe for another video, if you guys are interested, make sure to let me know what you'd like to see covered and anything else down in the comments. Until next time, guys, be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.